street, they were completely rammed. They were filled up to the gunnels, they were queuing down the street. They said, you should have been here last week. I swear, you should have been here last week. Oh yeah, you should have been here last week.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of You Should Have Been Here Last Week, the podcast presented by myself, Steve Gribbin, and fellow comedian Paul Ricketts.
Good welcome to you.
This week, Paul and I will be discussing when gigs go wrong, specifically when things turn a bit violent.
Well, I was going to say that you have plenty of stories about being attacked. In fact, a huge amount. In fact, I'd be worried if I was you about the stories you've got about being attacked. How can a placid, well-meaning, well-intentioned person like yourself cause such violence? It is hard to believe. It makes no sense at all.
Yeah, I mean, I told you that there's a. I think I've done this story, so I'm not going to.
Well, before you do it, I thought I'd do one about me being attacked, sort of level it up a bit. You know, and mine is in Edinburgh, another Edinburgh story. And it was after a show. I just got attacked by a Polish waiter. He just appeared from nowhere and just smacked me in the face. And I think it was because I was walking with two white women.
Oh my God!
It was a racial attack. I don't know why I'm smiling about it, but and that's one of those ones where kids, violence is not nice.
No.
The only weird thing was because I remember my partner and their mate chased them down the street like Scrappy Doo, and I remember my partner go on, punch me in the face, and I'm glad that he didn't. But then we got home to where we were staying, and Craig Campbell, a Canadian comic, was stood outside admiring his motorbike at 2:00 in the morning, as he would do. And he saw us and said, what happened? And we told him. And all he could say was, where are they? I'm dying to get... Let's find them. Let's do them. Because that is Craig Campbell.
Yes. Very true, actually. Did you catch them?
No, because it was about 15 minutes after it happened. Yeah. And but I like the fact he was dying to get involved in protecting me.
He's got one of the best stories ever about him. That's at the Comedy Cafe. I don't know why the Comedy Cafe. Apologies to Noel if he ever sees this, but it wasn't a hotbed of violence. But this particular night, he's been heckled by a bunch of city workers. Because especially on a Friday, they used to turn up coked up from work, didn't they? Really pissed up and very leery. And somebody was just doing that horrible bit of heckling where it's like every time a comic leaves a gap, they go, so Craig got fed up and he launched himself like that and was diving off across their table, because the tables were like direct to the front, where they just fucked all their drinks. Everything went over. And then, of course, it all kicked off and they went massive fight, bouncers involved. Although I think they only had about one bouncer at the Comedy Cafe, didn't they?
But I think Craig Campbell is the ultimate comic bouncer. Simon Munnery told me a story. He was doing a tour of Canada with his show, and he decided to get Craig Campbell to open for him. And Simon Munnery is a bit of a pool shark, because he likes to sort of lure people in. I've actually partnered him when he's been doing this. And he go, well, let's have a money game. And they think, well, he's not that good. And but he is okay.
Of course, isn't he? Bit of a ringer.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is why he told me the story, because he got me to partner him in a game of doubles that he set up for something like 15, 20 quid. And we didn't win it. But anyway, they went to a Canadian bar and Simon started doing his pool shark bit, playing people normally, and then, let's make this more interesting. So it was something, I don't know, $30 or something. and he was Simon was just over the black ball to win the game, and was potting it. And the next thing you know, this bloke, who was a friend of the person he was playing, collapses behind him and falls onto the table. And as he falls onto a table, in his hand is a sock, and in the sock is a pool ball.
Oh, my God. Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
And then he turns round and he just sees Craig Campbell stood there with a pool cue in his hand.
Yeah.
And
Shits himself.
And he just went, "Gentlemen, we're Canadian. This man is a guest in our country. You should be ashamed of yourselves."
Did it work?
Yeah. Because everyone went, yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's right. He's so true, isn't he, eh?
So there was no more repercussions. They just went, yeah, fair enough.
Oh, my God. Yeah, so, I mean, I think we've covered all bases, really, haven't we?
So you don't want to finish? Oh, no, we haven't. Promoter on audience violence. I have one story of...
Okay.
Of a promoter. I don't know whether or not to say his name. It did go to court. It did go to court.
Best not.
Best not. Bath Comedy Festival. I was emceeing one of the heats, and there was a Northern Irish gentleman that was not interested in the comedy at all, and he was being unfair on the acts, and I got quite harsh with him.
Yeah.
And said, look, if these newish acts trying to, further their careers by doing this comedy competition, you've just taken two of them down. I'll take it you're not going to take me down because I'm a bit better than them. And I'm going to tell you, just go downstairs. Don't come back. So we had the interval, and I told them that. I said, go downstairs. Don't come back. If you're not going to be supportive, just go downstairs. You don't have to stay. Whatever money you've paid to get in, I'll give it to you personally, so you don't have to come back. But the promoter was there, and as he was walking down the stairs, promoter apparently headbutted him and cleaned this bloke out.
Oh, my God.
And
there's a lot of headbutting going on in this episode, isn't there? That's about fourth headbutt.
Well, if you didn't know how to do it properly, I mean, he broke the bloke's cheekbone.
Oh, God.
And he was then dying to get back in because it turns out he was a paramilitary on one of the sides of the Northern Irish conflicts. And I think it was the fact that the bloke who did it, the promoter, was about 20 years older than him. Yeah. Had been 30 years. And basically cleaned him out and he fell down the stairs.
Jesus. Wow. No, you can't sort of... it did actually end up in court, didn't it?
Yes, but I think he might have had it was self-defense because there was an element of the bloke was going for him beforehand. He might have had a word with him saying, I think you're out of order, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Bloke started to go towards him and he finished it. So,
I mean, and plus you couldn't tell whether it was a threat because the guy was wearing a balaclava.
Yes, at the time.
How the fuck you want you fire back over there?
Yeah. So,
fuck you. I fucking know where you live, you fucking boy.
Yeah, it's worse now. Let's pull all the wool out the wounds. It was just... Yes,
wool-related wounds. They're the worst, aren't they? Well, actually, I will finish on my story because mine is Glasgow Jongleurs. Oh, God. Sorry, Jongleurs, you're getting a bad rep here. But it's in 2003 at the height of the Iraq War. And I was on stage and... the gig was going absolutely fantastically well. It was packed. It was in the days when it was really full, so there's about 300 or 400 people in there. And the gig was all right until I was doing stuff about the Iraq War. And then some woman said, oh, my son's over there. And I was having a go at the war, not at the people serving in it, because, members of my own family have been over there. And then one of those things where she goes, how dare you have a go at the one? All the atmosphere went a bit funny. And then I am going to mention his name because he was there and it's not that. And he saved my life that night. And the compere was Michael Legg. And so it all went a bit weird. some American in the audience said, "You have no respect for the dead," right? And I thought this was a witty reply, and I said, "You have no respect for the living," right? Which made it much worse. It was like pouring petrol onto it, so everything starts going. So I thought I would rescue it by getting off that subject and going on to a light-hearted subject, and then I got onto this.
Wait a minute, can you remember what the subject was?
I can. And the segue. Oh yeah, don't get me started. It was John Leslie.
What?
For legal reasons, I wasn't implying whether he was guilty or not, so I can't really say. But
so forget about Rock. What about sexual predators, eh?
Yeah, and also, read the fucking room. It was Glasgow. Oh my God!
He's from Edinburgh, though, isn't he, John Leslie?
Yeah, I think he is, but it doesn't matter because I was just like taking the piss, and they were getting really angry. So anyway, I had to go off because they were scraping chairs, but then loads of people were supporting me as well. Anyway, it got really leery. They were going, yes, and I got into the dressing room. And I said to the bouncer, "Is there any other way out other than that way?" And I'll never forget, he just went, really happy, went, "No, mate, you'll have to go back out the front and walk past all the people." Like, he was relishing the fact that I said, "You've got no choice. You'll have to go out and confront them." Meanwhile, Michael Legg, God bless him, was on stage made a speech about, it's great, as only he could, about the Scottish Enlightenment and freedom of speech and how great it was to be in Scotland. And they're all going, "Aye, that's right, yeah. We're not going to kill a Scouse cunt. We'll just let him fucking live, And I went out the front. In the meantime, it turned out that the woman who said her son was in Iraq, he wasn't in Iraq. He was back home, and he's come out the army. So she was just pissed. So the catalyst from the whole thing was not. And anyway, 3 squaddies walked up to me and bought me loads of drinks because they were still had friends who were serving over there, and they agreed. Somebody from the police walked in, and I ended up getting absolutely fucking bluted. And so did Michael Legg. And then we went across to the hotel. There was a wedding there, and we stayed up till about 7 o'clock in the morning. And it was one of the best nights. Turned from being one of the worst nights of my life into one of the best nights ever. But I have to say, if Michael Legg hadn't intervened, I don't know what would have happened, really.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, what's the wedding got to do with anything? Did you get off with the bride? What?
No. There was just loads of singing. It's one of those things. It was like a total contrast from that kind of horribleness where everyone wants to kill you into, joy and, it was all within the space of about 3 hours. And I had the worst, probably in my top 3 hangovers ever in my life the day after. So don't do violence, folks. It's very bad.
I mean, I was just thinking. There's a story that I've been threatening to tell on this show. It's a long story. I could tell it as quickly as I can. And it involves violence right at the very end. In the weirdest form. Okay. So I was doing a gig at Windsor Barracks. And 4 comics, Windsor Barracks. I've done army gigs before. I've done army gigs to the officers. That's absolutely fine. Officers are fine, just like a normal audience, really.
Yeah.
And then I've done the sort of, the troops and the officers. And what normally happens is the officers are at the front. You take the piss out of the officers, and all the squaddies love you. So that's good. But this time, all the squaddies, 200 of them, of the household cavalry, have been drinking all day because they have a sort of regular day, annual day at Windsor Barracks where the officers serve the men.
Yeah.
And so the officers are at the back of the room serving drinks to the squaddies. And they built a huge tent that they would normally take out in manoeuvres and put it inside a sports hall, which is a weird thing to do, but that's what the army do. And there was 200 squaddies there, all drunk before we got there. And it was pretty raucous. So first act goes on, Nick Coppin, he gets 13 minutes in, and they all start chanting, "Get your cock out, get your cock out." And they can't be stopped. So Nick Coppin goes, "Well, I'm not going to get my cock out. If you're not prepared to do it, why should I get my cock out?" And before he'd even finished saying that, Squaddy had run up, got his cock out.
Yeah.
Everyone's going crazy. And we had basically tossed up to see who was going to go in the middle, and I'd won.
Oh, my God.
So I was going in the middle because it's the sweet spot, isn't it? It's the nice spot.
Yeah.
Turns out that what happened was they decided not to have an interval after Nick Coppin because he'd only been on for 13 minutes. So I was then put on after Nick Coppin. And the MC did absolutely nothing. I said, come on, Matt. It was Matt Price. I said, Matt, you've got to do something. No, I'm afraid I'm just going to put you straight on, Paul.
I don't blame you. Go on.
Yeah. So I went straight on, and I'd done a bit of research, right, before I'd gone on it. I found out the name of the least favourite officer because I was determined not to die. And I walked on with this, a pint glass with wine in it. And I said, yes, you're looking at me drinking out this pint glass of wine in, and and someone goes, shouts out, that's a pussy's drink. And then I said, no, it's not. It's a whatever, Captain Blah Blah cocktail.
Yeah.
They went, woo! I thought, oh, great. I mean, and then I said to him, some people say comedian's hardest job in the world. No, it isn't. It's what you do. It's been, you're literally giving your life for the country. I mean, if I die, I get to do another gig. If you die, that's the end of it. And I said, I think I could do basic training. And then we'll go, woo. And I said, and I reckon I could do a term of service. And they went, woo. And I said, the one thing I can't do is the idea of having to see Jim Davison 3 times a year. I think that's against the Geneva Convention. And that still went with me.
Yeah.
And then, so I was doing great. I'd got about 15 minutes in. I think I only got 5 minutes to go. And then I made a mistake and went for a long story like the one I'm telling you now.
Oh, God.
So I went for this long story, and no, that was not what they wanted.
No.
And so all of a sudden, get your cock out.
Oh,
and I was going, look, you've had one mixed race comic on, you got a black comic on, and are you obsessed with black cock? What is the matter with you people? You work for the household cavalry. You got horses, haven't you? You see enough cock. What is the problem with you? Get your cock out. And by this point, they were standing and they were clapping and banging the chairs. And I'm just going, I couldn't get a word out. It was just, they were screaming me down, get your cock out. And I thought, oh my God, I've got no choice. What the hell do I do? What do I do? And I said, well, look, do you really want me to get my cock out? Yeah. Well, I said, if I'm going to do this, let's make a proper show of it. Let's make a proper show. Let's do a proper full Monty on it. So I want some more people to come up. Before I realise it, 4 squaddies had jumped up and come up on stage. And also, the DJ started playing, you can leave your hat on.
Oh, my
And that's when I realised, wait a minute, we've been stitched up here, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've been stitched up. So the squaddies instantly pulling their trousers said, no, let's do this properly. Let's form a line at the back of the stage, and then we'll pull our trousers down and show our arses to begin with. And so we all stood lined up at the back of the stage, and I'm stood there. I've still got the microphone, and I've got 2 squaddies on each side, and all of them have got their cocks out, and all of them are gently stroking their cocks.
Oh, my God.
And I'm saying into the microphone, said, my God, why are you all wanking? Everyone here has got their hand on their cock. And one of the squaddies says, well, yeah, we've got to look the best for the regiment.
Tomorrow morning, I want to see my face in that helmet.
Yeah. So I went, okay, let's just get this over and done with. So we pulled our trousers down, did a little shimmy with our bums. They're going crazy, all the squaddies.
Yeah.
Then we turned around and walked down stage.
Yeah.
And I said, let's just do a little sort of put your hands up in the air together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Whoa! Put our hands up in unison. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, a warm hand for the upstanding members of the household cavalry. And they went, way! And they all went off. And
Yeah.
I'm stood there with me trousers round me ankles, me underpants sitting in me trousers, waddling away,
Oh God.
and thinking, what the fuck? How did I end up doing this? And some bloke goes, squaddy shouts at me, "Oi, mate, yeah, it's not true what they say about black men looking at you." And to which I said, "Well, funny enough, this is not the sort of situation that really turns me on. It's I'm not getting aroused by this very thing,
No.
And anyway, sometimes you hear things that aren't true. It's similar to when you joined the army and they said it would be a career. So
Ooh.
then I pulled my trousers up and left, right? And 5 minutes later, I'm in a pub outside Windsor Barracks watching football with a pint, and it's almost like it's never happened. It's a real sort of like, wait a minute, was I just stood in front of 300 men with me cock out? Now I'm here having a pint. But this is where the violence comes in. The final act is Andre King, who's a big New Zealander.
Yeah, I remember Andre. Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
Ex New Zealand Army himself, Maori, 6'5", big bloke.
Yeah.
And he's watched everything. They've had an interval, and he's gone on to close the gig. And instead of coming on the side like we've done from the wings, he actually enters from the back, and he walks down the central aisle between the two banks of seating, and it's been described to me that basically you just see people suddenly jump up. All the squaddies go, whoa, because he's walking down the aisle and he's smacking his cock into the faces of squaddies as he's coming down the aisle.
Oh my God.
And his cock is big enough to actually, because I don't think that I could do that. Not in repose. He could do it in repose.
Oh my God.
And they're all jumping up frightened, and as he's coming down, and he smacks about 6 of them in the face on either side as he's come down, and then he walks up on stage, puts his cock back and goes, "Well, there'll be no more of that shit," and does his set and storms it.
Wow. Bloody hell. So that, he should have done that. You should have done that at first, shouldn't you? Yeah. How did you find out what had happened? Did he tell you later on, or did?
Yeah, he told me later on. Matt Price told me, because Matt Price was, seen at 2 out of the 4 comics to get their cock. Well, no, I was the only one who got his cock out because Nick Coppin, he got out of it.
He refused.
Yeah. Well, he got someone else to do it on his behalf, which sounds like Nick Coppin.
I mean, that's not really violence, is it, I suppose?
Sexual violence, cock in the face.
Yeah,
that is
maybe.
sexual violence.
True. Well, what
if you were in court, you couldn't say, it wasn't violent, really. I was just giving them a little peck. No.
Well, I mean, what a way to end the show. I think that's a good point to end on, isn't it, really?
Yes, I think you can't really top that as a finish.
No, you can't. No.
If you've enjoyed this show of violence of all sorts of descriptions, there's been handbags, there's been penises, there's been glasses thrown through the air, all sorts of different sorts of violence.
Oh, yeah.
Then, well, tell your friends, like, subscribe, share. Anything else that we should tell them before we go?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay, let's say goodbye. Bye-bye. Bye.
They said you should have been here last week. I swear you should have been here last